So I've now seen Invincible, Season 2, Episodes 6 and 7, and oh my god, are things starting to get interesting. I think the best way to start talking about this is focusing on Mark and Amber's relationship, since I feel like that was the focal point of these 2 episodes, and also to be a nice way to wrap up this 3-video thread, because I think one of the first videos that started blowing up on this channel is the Lois Lane video, then I did one on Amber, and now it's finally time to start talking about the Mark and Amber breakup story. It's not like nobody knew this was coming. We've all seen superhero stories before, we've all read comics before, we know the tropes that go on within stuff like this. And they really showed their tropiness within episode 6 because Mark went to talk to Art and Amber went to talk to Eve, and they both have these complications with their relationship that they refuse to communicate with each other about, but they're totally fine with talking to other people about it. That's definitely healthy. And the whole thing is they both want to seem like a really good and understanding partner within this relationship. They don't want to seem like they're being a bit jerk for bringing up something like, why do you keep going to save lives and leaving me alone, or I'm sorry that I leave you alone, but I had to go save these people's lives, I'm so sorry, you know, I want to hang out with you, but these strangers need me more. And we see this kind of stuff throughout a lot of superhero stuff. I guess the most prevalent one to talk about would be Spider-Man, because that's the big one. Him and Mary Jane, they get together for a little bit, then they break up, he gets with Gwen for a little bit, something terrible happens to Gwen, and it's just this very, very bad struggle of wanting to be a superhero, but also wanting to continue to be a human and live out your human fantasies, live out the life that you were growing up to live already. But it's hard to live a double life. It's hard to be in 2 places at once. You can only be in one place. You can only have a certain amount of time to do certain stuff that you've always dreamed of doing. Not everybody can be Hannah Montana. It's not always the best of both worlds. It's the best of one world, and it's the one you have to sacrifice something else to get. And we do see them try to work it out within episode 6. They go on this date, they go to Comic-Con, Mark's going crazy about all these stuff. He goes to a Seance Dog signing, which I do kind of feel like the creator of that does look like Robert Kirkman. Is that just me? That's just what I imagine Robert Kirkman to look like. And the date's going well, kind of awkward, kind of very awkward, because he still refused to communicate at this point, but it's going well until a certain point. And at a certain point was him getting a call because Rex escaped the hospital. So Mark has to go rescue Rex, and they start talking a little bit, and Rex says, hey dude, I owe you one, so anytime you need time to spend with Amber, you let me know and I'll get the Guardians to cover you for that time period. And he also got Cecil to give him weekends off, or at least 2 days a week off. He's trying to make time, he's trying to sacrifice some time for Amber, and he tells her that. He takes off everything, takes off his earpiece and stuff, and they get to having a good time, you know, flying around to different places, talking about the future, talking about a trip to Hawaii they want to take. Then Anissa shows up. And I don't know if you guys know Anissa. I shouldn't, because I don't read the comics, but I do get a lot of clips and stuff for this video, and that does pivot me to a lot of stuff that happened in the comics. And you know, I know she's bad for Mark, but she threatens to take Amber's life immediately if Mark doesn't come with her and go have a talk. So Mark does that, he obliges. Amber's left there aghast. You know, she's shocked, she's astonished that her life could be threatened and felt so puny so quickly. So Mark's gone talking to Anissa, she's left pondering over that thought. Mark does talk to Anissa, but most of that is just him getting his ass kicked, because of course it happens, and Anissa shows him up and also kicks his ass. Of course that happens. And she ends up leaving because she couldn't convince him to join the Viltrumite Empire. He goes back to Amber and they break up. Such a sad, tragic ending for these 2 individuals, but also think that's kind of fine. The whole point of relationships is not everything works out. You know, there's sometimes you're gonna have to sacrifice some time for somebody, you're gonna have to sacrifice some things, but eventually it may or may not work out still, regardless of the effort you put in or don't put in. And this was a perfect example of that, and I do still think these 2 characters were good for each other. They help each other grow. She was a perfect person for Mark to be with, to kind of keep him tied to humans, if that makes sense. Because he could have easily kept going on space adventures and forgot what it was like to go to college, forget what it's like to have a mom and everything, and he could just forget about Earth entirely. But he is human. He cares about these people. He cares about Amber. He cares about his mom. Heck, he cares about his younger brother. But sooner or later, he's gonna have to make a choice, and I really love that for Mark's character growth in this series. But let's go ahead and start talking about the rest of the things that happened in these episodes before we start closing things out. Most notably, Rex did get shot, and oh my god, I thought he died, but he didn't. He survived. Ray survived. I'm surprised Ray survived somehow, but she did, and I'm so happy because that was a shocking thing that happened in the last episode. But sadly, Kate did not survive, and that destroyed Immortal. He hasn't been the same since. He's been very emotionally unstable in general at this point so far. So he needs a lot of time to process this thing that happened to Kate. He was really the only person we saw speaking at her service, which I thought was an interesting touch. He talked to Black Samson afterwards, and he couldn't understand why he felt so strongly for Kate, why he felt this way about her passing. And the only thing I could come up with as a result as to why he feels this way is because Kate understands him. We heard her yell at Rex a couple episodes ago how the Immortal is the only person that understands her, the only person that knows what it's like to die and be brought back to life because he's immortal, because she keeps duplicating herself after one dies. They're the only two people that actually get each other and have been alive for as long as each other has. So I think it perfectly makes sense for him to fill this deep hole in his chest for somebody who got their chest ripped open. I'm sorry, that was a bad joke. I'm so sorry. But Rex and Ray did survive. Ray's in the hospital. Rex is in the hospital, but he's also just running out and doing whatever he wants. That's why he went on a mission unauthorized, and I told you guys earlier that's where Mark had to go and save the day, but he didn't save the day because Rex has he lost his arm, so he has a robot arm now who shoots a big old cannon. For a good structure, that's all that really mattered in these episodes. I could talk about Debbie raising Oliver. She named Nolan's other kid Oliver, which is a fine name, I guess. I could talk about Donald. I really haven't been talking about Donald, but I mean, he's grown to understand his purpose at this point. We saw Omni-Man for like 2 seconds. He wasn't saying anything and they were just throwing him around in prison. Oh, and William's boyfriend Rick came back. I forgot about that. He had a whole little character arc right there where he had to grow to love himself again at the events that happened towards him. But then we get to the post-credit scenes. One post-credit scene pissed me off, and the other one left me like, why can't they leave Mark alone? The one that pissed me off is the one at the end of episode 6. It was the end of the whole Martian stuff. They finally got the parasites off of this guy and got him back to Earth. He got to finally start, cleaning up his room and everything and start getting stuff situated. And then he ended up coughing something up in the sink. It was one of the parasites. He has now been taken over again. Can these shot moments stop coming back? I don't want to have to deal with these parasites again, genuinely. And the other post-credit scene at the end of episode 7 is after him and Amber break up. He gets a call when he's trying to contemplate on his life at the top of a building. It's from Debbie, and he answers it, and a man's voice comes from the phone. It's Angston Levy. He's there holding Debbie and Oliver hostage. What is Mark gonna do? And that's how episode 7 ends. Can this guy have a little bit of a break, please? He has so much stuff on his plate right now. He has the breakup of Amber to deal with. He has the Viltrumite Empire to deal with. Anissa just left. General Craig is probably going to be there shortly. And now Angston Levy and his whole multi-dimensional self-being whatever is there to kill him because one Invincible in his timeline was evil and now he thinks they're all evil. Give this guy a break, please. He needs a effing break. But yeah, with that being said, what are your opinions on Invincible Season 2 Episodes 6 and 7? Leave them in the comments down below and I'll get back to them as soon as I can. Okay, I really hope you enjoyed these episodes, genuinely. I can't wait. Is the next episode going to be the last episode of the season? I think they normally just have 8, or at least the first season did, so I'm assuming the next one's going to be the last one, man. Well, I mean, we'll be back next week if that's the case, or, whenever I have the opportunity to record some stuff and put it out. But yeah, watch out for then. Goodbye.